Now, one of the things that Prime Minister is going to do is, of course, celebrate International Yoga Day at the United Nations. And speaking of the UN, the membership of the UNSC has been a huge and contentious issue. We all know that many countries trying to block this. We also know efforts that are being made in this direction. Why is it so significant? Maha Siddiqui, who is in the United States right now, tracking each and every detail of this important visit, tells us why.
The United Nations is now almost an 80-year-old organization, and for it to remain relevant, it desperately needs reforms. And one such reform can be to include more members as permanent members of the Security Council. And here, India deserves a place at the high table. The first reason, and the most important one, is very obvious, that for the UN to itself remain a credible organization, it needs to include more member countries as permanent members and not just have 5 members with veto powers where they can scuttle any discussion that they do not want. Secondly, India represents over 17% of the world population. It is the 5th largest economy now and has left behind a country like Britain as well, the UK being a P5 member itself. Moreover, there is growing acceptance for India's demand. Apart from China, all other P5 members are in agreement that India does deserve a place in the United Nations Security Council as a permanent member. And finally, India has made great contribution through the UN peacekeeping mission, a mission where India has sent over 2 lakh of its soldiers. And in 2007, India also sent an all-women's contingent to Liberia.
All right, so let's quickly also tell you what all is expected tonight. There are a lot of important engagements. So today he is going to land, the Prime Minister, at 10:25 p.m. This is 12:55 Eastern Standard Time. And then after that, he is expected to meet a whole host of dignitaries. His meetings take place as the day progresses. And then, of course, tomorrow is the big day, the 21st of June. Maha Siddiqui now joins us live with all the latest from the United States of America. Maha, good morning. Would you like to tell us what all are the engagements slated for today?
Good evening to you, Sanket. Yes, this is good morning for us over here in the US. The Prime Minister's engagements today will largely be with CEOs, industry leaders, some Nobel laureates, economists and experts in the health sector. Now his state visit is starting from the state visit is in Washington, D.C., but his visit is starting from New York. So he'll be landing here in New York at the timings you've just given the viewers, after which the hotel right behind us, the one that you can see, is where the Prime Minister will be coming in. And after landing, after about 2 to 3 hours, he'll hit the ground running, meeting 24 people from the various sectors I just pointed out, and interestingly, also be meeting Elon Musk, Twitter's and Tesla's founder. Now, Tesla founder Elon Musk, why he will be meeting him is also very significant, because both sides, India and the US, Sanket, are looking at a tech partnership. And in the tech partnership, as has been underlined by the US NSA Jake Sullivan himself, is that this can't go forward without the industries on both sides collaborating. It is dependent on companies rather than government-to-government engagement, really. And that is why in the run-up to the Prime Minister's visit, when Jake Sullivan was in India less than a week ago, he met industry leaders at a CII event and heard them out as to what is the requirement for both sides to collaborate better. Under tech partnership, Joe Biden and Prime Minister Modi last year announced what is called ICET, Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies, under which we have already seen one initiative on partnership on semiconductors. Now, this is important, Sanket, as chips, semiconductors may seem like a very small thing, something that perhaps fits into the palm of your hand, but is really powering the tech world all around us, from electronic household gadgets to our ATMs, the internet, and very importantly, the automobile sector that was hit because of the crisis in the supply chain during COVID. So to reduce the dependence on some countries, which really are the big ones at the moment making these chips, China, for instance, Taiwan has some of the biggest TSMC, their company is one of the biggest semiconductor chip suppliers. So clearly, with a view on that, both India and the US are coming close in the technological partnership area, which will also going ahead include areas like artificial intelligence. There is likely to be some progress on space partnership as well, because Sanket, now as we increasingly know that wars will not be fought on the ground, even though you are seeing the Ukraine war go on, but the larger modern warfare is going to be from space, communication, satellites, how those can be disrupted, and partnership there to create secure systems is very important. That is another aspect that the two sides are looking at. But his itinerary largely in New York will be centered around his meetings, as I've pointed out, and tomorrow the International Yoga Day, which the Prime Minister will
Absolutely, Maha. So you have a long day ahead while we snooze here in the night. But I was just wondering, Maha, he's going to meet Neil deGrasse Tyson. What are they going to talk about? Mr. Neil, why did you kick Pluto out of the solar system?
So,
I'm just kidding.
So there is a whole list of people apart from Neil Tyson. Of course, as I was saying, partnership in science and technology is one of the most important aspects over here, and that is why we are seeing not just an astrophysicist but Tesla founder as well as some other economists and scientists that the Prime Minister will be meeting, all with an eye on closer partnership between India and the United States in those areas. And as I've pointed out, space and technology are the two important emerging areas where the two sides really feel the need to partner better. And of course, what the stress will be over here, Sanket, is that the common threat of China is certainly significant, even though they don't say it overtly. But if you look at the manner in which the partnership is progressing, it clearly does appear that forging of closer ties between the two sides is largely eyeing China and the emerging aggressive threat of China in the Indo-Pacific. If you look at the defense sector as well, let me just quickly take another few seconds and point out some announcements that will be made, not here, but of course in Washington, D.C. when the bilateral meeting takes place. Under that, if you look at the acquisition of drones that India is likely to announce there on the 22nd of June, I mean, both sides will be announcing that together. That again is in relevance at the moment here because of the Chinese aggression. We are seeing the Eastern Ladakh friction go on for over 3 years now, Sanket, and Depsang and Demchok, the critical areas, strategically important areas where the friction continues. So yes, a lot of elements involved in this state visit of the Prime Minister.
Okay. Maha Siddiqui, live from New York. Have a good day. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll watch all your reports.